So it was a classic.
Yes. The late night happy hour. We're not effing around here.
That's right. We're not.
Maybe some real cusses later, but we got a lot of good stuff to get into. I feel
you
like
send the tweet.
Yeah, it's out there.
I didn't get it.
I'm like, did I hit start broadcast? You know, the tweet is kind of effed up now. I have to send out a second tweet once we're into this and send out the YouTube link.
Okay.
Did I mislabel your name?
I don't know. I just didn't. Usually I get it.
Let's see.
Usually I see the. Let me see.
This is a disaster. Look at this thing.
Yeah.
Are we up and live?
Yeah, you know what I'll do.
We got people coming in. Yeah, it's up there. You're tagged there.
All right, let me use something else here.
I named the show "We're Not Effing Around Here."
Because you're a moron.
Anyway, my spicy mule is getting to me. Petro, right before the broadcast, asked me how's it going in Vegas, and I think he was actually showing concern for my own existence. But I immediately go into like how Vegas is doing and opening up Vegas, and the Vegas people in here. I'm sure you've seen the stories, but like the last 6 months when we opened things up, it was pretty slow. We had a lot of restrictions, the mask, people are holed up. They don't have money. So as a reaction, a lot of the big casino properties here were like, all right, let's lower the prices a little bit. And that included places like Bellagio, but especially Wynn and Encore. And then, lo and behold, there was a rash of freaking fights up and down the strip, and people just, hey, F you, man. Time to start firing a gun. There were like a bunch of shootings. Like, okay, what's going on here? Like the Vegas Strip has a reputation of being a wild place, but the one thing we try to protect is the Strip's image and safety, because people don't want to come here and feel like they're not safe.
Right.
Yeah. For the months of the pandemic, until we really started to open up, it was ridiculous. And then I just read a story the other day about some couple that went to, I think it was Wynn or Encore, and they're in their room and someone's just breaking into the room. Like, okay, this never used to happen. What are we doing here? But you and I were just kind of hashing out what's happened in a lot of places.
Like in the travel world.
I mean, rates have gone down, but the hotels, like, you're trying to make every buck you can. One, you might be taking a risk with the type of clientele, but the other thing is you got to staff up again.
Right.
You can't have no staff in the building.
So you were traveling and you were giving me a report of what you thought of the hotel.
Okay. Well, I went to LA, to the Valley, and we usually stay at I think it's a Hyatt in Woodland Hills, and we're like, oh, the Marriott's actually kind of cheap. We never stay there. It's usually more expensive, so we'll stay at the Marriott. I get to the Marriott, and it was like, I don't know, man. It was like, first of all, I'm not anti-weed, but there was like friggin' weed smell everywhere, like on every floor that we're on, even like downstairs near the lobby. You're like, okay. Then the place is a ghost town. They had, listen, I am not highfalutin. I really don't need help from anyone, but like there was no valet. There was no bellhop. I'm not really a bellhop person like ever, but if the SO, we brought a cooler, we're low grade. We were bringing some Vegas beers down to our friends. So we had a cooler and a couple of bags, and we're like, oh, let's get some service here. And they're like, well, we don't have a bellhop. There's the cart. Go at it. I'm like, all right. So we did that, wheel it up. But
can I, and this was LA, right?
It's the Valley. Yeah.
And
it's LA. It's Los Angeles.
Because I'm hearing myself like 3 times. But there's a Iowa City. I know, not LA, right? Iowa City, home of the Iowa Hawkeyes. That we stay at. We go up to on a fairly regular basis, and we stay at. There's never a bellhop.
Okay.
Like they have a cart. I get the cart. I load my stuff up. I take it up. So like welcome to sorry we can't all live in the losses of the world.
I love it. I love
Vegas and LA. The highfalutin types.
Now, like I said, I never use stuff like that because I'm cheap and I don't want to have to give a $5 tip. And I'm an adult male. I can carry my own fucking luggage. But she wanted it, and plus she's still wheeling around in a freaking
right.
On a cart with broken ankle, right? She can't carry anything. But so whatever. So, but my point is, there's no service, right? Then, like I noticed as it went along. First of all, we get in there and they've got like this, some kind of seal on the door, like, oh, it's sanitized, right? I'm like, okay, great. Which was I'm not.
Don't
like,
you feel better? It's clearly you could tell they had put a lot of
mean,
time and effort into cleaning the room, right?
Let's admit, 3 months ago and 6 months ago, I think we were a lot more freaked out about the cleanliness, and people are still getting COVID, so you still got to be careful.
Right.
I'm double vaxxed. She's single vaxxed. Now she's double. She got both. So we're kind of feeling good about it. But whatever. It says the room's clean. But as the trip went along, I'm like, I don't see. There's like no one in the hotel. I mean, I know there's people staying there, but there's no freaking staff. And as the time went along, we're staying in a room. They've got the laminate floor, right? Instead of carpet, which carpet is disgusting. But I noticed as it went along, like we were bringing back food. Like someone brought us like friggin' donuts. I'm a fat ass, so I'm eating the donuts, and there's stuff dropped on the floor. I am a slob, but as it went along, I'm like, is anyone vacuuming the room? Can I get a basic vacuum in here? I was actually going to call down the last day and be like, can I get a broom so I can clean my fucking room?
Like, do you buy like the new model of car right when it comes out? Are you like you're gonna go be the first guy in? Don't you know, like, you never want to be the first guy? Like, hey, we're traveling again. Oh, I'm gonna be the first asshole on the plane. No, you wait. You let them get back in the rhythm of things, then you go.
Yeah, it was a bad move, I guess.
Lick the walls.
That cheap Marriott room was not really as cheap as I thought it was, and Brady's like, I couldn't bend over to pick up the donut. It wasn't a donut. We got these donuts. Someone brought us some donuts from some place in Santa Monica. And
have another donut, you fat bastard.
I mean, there's donuts with sprinkles and bacon and maple syrup and all this stuff. Like, you're gonna drop some. I'm a slob. I'm not using a plate. Where I'm gonna use a towel. We're paying for service. And as I went along, I'm just like, all right, there's a mix of like hair, because I'm hairy. There's a mix of hair and like donut sprinkles, and then like, pepperoni, and it's like, we're animals here.
You know they're not changing the sheets. You just like them to fake it a little bit and vacuum, just a quick vacuum. You're saying? I mean,
vacuuming like a hardwood, whatever it is, the fake.
And at least grab one of your socks off the armoire and wipe up the sink in the bathroom real quick. Just fake it.
By the way, I missed something along the way. As the trip went along, like the towels were dwindling. I'm like, they're not. Like you start out.
Yeah, it's not. You don't take your divot and throw it off the course. You replace your divot.
Right.
Replace the towel.
We had like 2 washcloths, like 4 hand towels, 2 bath towels, the freaking whatever the towel for the shower. And as it went along, like the last day, we're okay. Just 2 bath towels and the thing on the floor. That's it. There's no hand towels. Nothing.
So you're thinking I should like right now run right out and book some travel plans?
Well, I think you should, but I would check ahead on Marriott's if they're going to staff up the effing places again.
Well, what about the Vegas? Because I've got people hitting me up about whether or not we're going to do fantasy football in Vegas.
By September, yeah, I think you'll feel good.
August.
I don't think I'll be available in August, but whatever. You guys do the draft when you want.
Really?
Yeah, I'm taking a trip like the 22nd to
no, you know what week football is.
22nd to the 27th.
That's right when it is. It's always the weekend before.
Yeah, I think I'll be back. I'll be back on that Friday when you guys get here if you come here. But you told me you weren't coming, so I got a fancy trip all planned out, or just about planned out, to the Jersey Shore.
Oh Jesus!
You're talking about Jesus?
Well, you heard me.
It's lovely during the summer.
It's not 30th. So Labor Day is the 6th, so it'd be the weekend of the 30th if we go.
Yeah.
So we'd be out on Thursday, the 26th of August. But I'm going to tell you this right now. They keep charging, like we had flights to Florida.
Yeah, what happened
last year?
Your Pensacola trip.
Yeah, so with my wife's family, and we decided we'll roll it over. We'll just roll it back a year. Like all these families, all my wife's, she's one of 6, so 6 families, all these grandkids, her parents getting all these condos in the same building, and so we rolled it back a year. The condo people were great. They're like, yeah, we'll do it. COVID hit, and they're like, we understand. Yep. I mean, we're holding your deposit. We're not giving you your deposit back, but you leave your deposit with us, and you're good. I'm like, okay, great. The airline tickets we bought were $340 a person. Now, $1,082.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, we don't shit yourself. We've got our credit, right? Southwest was nice enough to give us 2 years from the time we booked it, not the time we were supposed to fly, but the time we booked it. We have that credit. They went and tripled the price of every flight right about when you might be ready to use it. So, I mean, no way am I giving, triple the price. You can have my money you've been sitting on for a year and a half. Because I'm not flying for $1,000 to Pensacola.
Oh, believe me.
You go to Maui for $1,100 from Kansas City.
Exactly. If I have to buy plane tickets to Philly or Newark, and they're $1,000 a piece, we ain't going. So I would take another week off and just drive back and forth before I would.
Well, we are driving. We're going. We're driving.
Yeah. How long's the drive?
For me, 4.5 hours.
Okay. Well. Okay. Well, the drive for me would be probably 29 hours because it's 3,000 miles. So it's a little.
The phone says 13 hours.
Oh, okay. I was like I was like, man, I guess you are closer to Pensacola than I thought. I'm like, that's too short.
Cofield, the geographer, notes
4.5 hours to go 1,300 miles. That's awesome.
Cofield, the geographer, notes that it's only he buys 4.5 hours, KC to the Panhandle of Florida.
Hey, you know what's weird about this is Petro has been talking about being a value player because we were talking about just drinking at home instead of ever going out again.
Yeah.
So maybe you are the blue collar guy, and now I'm upper brow.
I think you are. I think you're just splashing cash around. You're big, and I've learned the pandemic has taught me the value of a buck. We sat on a patio dinner last night after my kids' softball game with some friends of ours. Our daughters play. And we sat outside on a patio for dinner. Their families, the parents are vaccinated. We're vaccinated. And I got the bill and I was like, oh, shit, man. Really? And it's a buddy of mine's place. You've been there, Coaches. Where we sat. We watched Kentucky barely get by Notre Dame, the undefeated Kentucky team barely get by Notre Dame. He had it all tarped off for the tournament, but normally it's open air. Props to my buddy Brian Darby. And I got the bill and I was like, you're shitting me here. Really? Like I forgot what a bill looks like at the end of the night with like a couple of families and whatnot. I was like, oh man, it's the first dinner I've had at a restaurant since the pandemic started.
We got a bunch of travel stuff here. Kirk says that you and he are driving to Vegas.
Kirk's gonna drive to Vegas, but
you know what?
He does that all the time.
I feel like Kirk wasn't on. Maybe Kirk was on last night. I feel like no one had my back last night. I was talking about the movie Nomadland that won the Oscar, and it's about people who are just kind of living on the road and job to job, and they travel the country and whatever. Kirk,
is it good, or did it win because it's the only movie that was released last year?
I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think like Best Picture,
right?
But I thought it was good. It was interesting. Okay. But Kirk is the kind of guy who would do that. Let's see. Rick says round trip to New York is less than 400 in June. Yeah, I looked up tickets to Philly in August. They were pretty good. Let's see.
Then what is going on? Like what's happening in Pensacola that they're tripling the price of what I was going to get last year?
Brady says $1,082 to fly to Florida. I just paid $184 to get a condo. Yeah. And it's Pensacola. It's not even like it's not Miami or whatever. It's Miami.
Well, all right. Maybe I need to check. My wife went and looked, and my wife, who knows, may have put like who knows what she may have put in. I there's a reason why ultimately I booked the travel reservations, so she may have done something wrong. So maybe I'm speaking out of turn. So I apologize to Southwest if somebody's like, what the hell are you talking about? It's $289. You're a jackass. I need to go look myself. I'm taking this as secondhand information I got from my wife. So if I screwed up, it sounds like everybody else is getting way better fares. Or I don't know. There's only one plane that'll go to Pensacola or something.
Yeah, you missed the story last night on anyone calling me a highbrow guy. Give me a break. I use an auction site to help out my hoarding. Petro, I told the story yesterday real quick.
Wait a minute, first, real quick, put up the next one down. Put up Brady's. I love that one.
I know the restaurant bill. And the funny thing is,
water will split the fries.
That's the furthest from the truth that you don't do that ever.
I don't. No,
you never do it.
I don't, but there was a like I forgot what it was to get a bill and just having to figure the tip and
Oh God, it's the worst. That trip to LA. I had some of the SO's old friends out, and a couple comes out with their 2 kids, and they start pulling out the calculator, breaking down the bill. I'm like, all right. And then I think I actually put in less money on purpose because I'm like, you know what, you brought your kids here, that's a tax, and you are gonna pay more. So I don't really know you, and your kids were animals, so fuck off.
Lewis Black said, "I'm figuring the tip. You know, you give 20%, not 15. You give 20% because who the hell can figure out what the hell 15% of anything is?
It ain't that hard.
And no, it's not. It's, you know, move a decimal over once, then half that, add that on to the first number, you're at 15. But you do 20 because it's even easier. Take the bill, double it, move the decimal point over a couple of times, you got your number."
Plus, that restaurant staff had to tell those kids to sit down and start running around 15 times. So, like, I'm gonna pay for that. I'm gonna pay a little more for that too. I'm sorry, guys.
Who were these jackasses you went out?
Well, you know, here's the thing. They literally hadn't been. It's California, right? And I know you guys shut down how much you go out this whole time. I mean, this was the wife came out the night before. The family came out the next day. It was the first time they'd been out. She kept saying it since like March 21 of last year.
I take that back. I thought about it. We went for my buddy Archie's birthday. He and his wife and me and my wife went out and sat on a patio. JJ's back last September. So those are the 2. That's the second time I've been out since the beginning of the pandemic.
This is funny. Steve knows people with kids. I know. I try to stay away from them.
Only secondarily. I
mean, in town, we're generally not a match. I mean, they're not going to go out, especially if they have young kids. Now, I have friends. We go out with who have kids, but their kids are like 14, whatever, 18. They're in college. If they have little kids, it's hard to go out.
I was waiting for that one. Sounds like Cofield went to dinner with Mark Few.
Wait, what is that a reference to?
Don't you remember I told you Mark Few in Maui? Like there was a place I'd go for breakfast, and Mark Few and his whole family were there, and like some other people. He had like a table of like 10 or 12, and his kids were just running everywhere. And I asked the lady, I was trying to do a Pacific Island accent. I couldn't do it, but real sweet lady that I'd see at breakfast every morning. This was in 2013 when Gonzaga was there and Syracuse was there, and I said, God, is this like this every morning? Every morning they run around like animals.
Yeah, I love it.
I was like, oh my God.
But you will say it as a parent, and I know my parents used to say this because my mother was and she's still here. She was a freaking battle axe when it came to going out with us and behaving.
Yeah. Oh, that's me too.
And she would say it. She's like, you know what? I always get compliments on you guys because you don't act like idiots and run around. And I'm like, well, because we're afraid of you. You're freaking, you're going to tear into it. So I don't know what's going on with Mark Few. These were his kids?
But yeah, well, I think so. I don't know for sure, but she said, oh, it's that guy. I said, it's the guy on the end. She's like, yeah. I said, oh, okay. All right. She said, oh yeah, run around all the time.
Yeah, you know what? Is there a certain level of wealth where you're like, you know what? Fuck everyone else. They're my kids. I'm rich. I'm going to let them run around. Fuck you.
I don't know. I mean, there are things like I went to pick up my kid from her dance class, and the mom pulls in between 2 handicap spots, right? Like there's 2 handicap spots and then the yellow lines where the wheelchair ramp is. She pulled in there and waited there. And I looked at her like 4 times and I didn't phase her, or she just was so brazen. Like, what are you going to do?
Yep.
And I'm just like I want to go like Jim Carrey and whatever, the guy pulls up into the handicap spot. What is it? Me, Myself, and Irene. Guy pulls in the handicap spot, hops up in a convertible, hops up over the door, runs inside, and he's taking a leak in the driver's side seat. When the guy comes out, he's bringing his grandfather with a walker. He pulled in the handicap spot to get his grandfather. It's his grandfatherher's car.
Yeah.
And the grandfather's got a walker, and he's like, what are you doing? Pissing in my Cadillac? Like when people do that, I want to go take a leak on their car.
Yeah. I will tell you, having someone who's been debilitated for like the last 6 weeks, that I got I won't say brazen, but I was going as close to where I needed to drop her off as I needed to. And if anyone had an issue with it, too bad.
Well, but when she gets out,
I'll tell you what. If I saw an
Steve.
able-bodied person pull into two spots in a handicap, because we don't have a handicap placard for 8 weeks of being, off
you can get it though.
Yeah, I could have, but I will tell you, if I saw someone doing that, I would actually intentionally park behind them in perpendicular fashion. And if they said something, I'd be like, go ahead and T-bone the car out of the way. I don't give a shit. She's getting close to where she needs to go. We have insurance. Do what you want to do. You ruin your car.
Yeah. Okay.
So
good times.
Talking a lot of shit. I would never do that. Of course, I would never do that.
So did you watch the Oscars?
Oh, wow. We're going there instead of the draft. Really?
Well, you started down the Oscars road. Let's go to the draft. I'm fine. I'll go anywhere.
It's funny. I didn't watch the Oscars, but yeah, last night we talked about this and no one really latched onto it. But I'll just mention I watched the Oscars. I talk about why I watch a award show and I got crapped on because I kept saying it. It's a cheesy way to look at it, but I like watching award shows now. One, I don't mind the speeches. They don't bother me. If people have concerns about whatever cause around the world or bothered by something, sometimes it's enlightening. I don't even know about it. And the other thing is I like watching award shows because these are ultra talented people. And I like to see how into their craft they are. And I know it sounds cheesy, but I think it's cool. I would think for you, someone with kids, it's not the worst thing to listen to people who are highly successful and like almost psycho about what they do, talk about what they do and how into it they are.
We had something going on. My kids love the Oscars. It's like a thing. We get
really?
together. What's that?
I said, oh, really? They love them.
Yeah, they do. And usually we'll watch them for an hour and a half or whatever. They go to bed and then I'm recording them and we watch the rest of them the next day. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Oscars, but I can't remember what was going on Sunday. And we had something. Oh, I had a meeting. I had to get on a call. And so I didn't watch it and the kids went and did something else. And so we totally missed it. But like we hadn't seen any movies. So we weren't really.
That's the thing. Adam Hill was saying this on the air. Maybe said it last night. There are people who are all fired up because the numbers are way down. The ratings are way down. And it's like, get woke, go broke. There were no movies. People didn't watch movies.
Yeah. It's not about that. It's 58%. It's down 58% because what movie came out that you saw?
Yeah, I saw two of them recently that were up for Best Picture. The other one was The Promising Young Woman, which was actually very good and had an awesome ending. But I also didn't think that was a Best Picture candidate, and I didn't think the lady was Best Actress, and I don't think she won it. But I think Frances McDormand won both. She got the movie and the Best Actress.
Of course, she always does. She's the new Meryl Streep.
And I do want to see this movie. I should have seen it. I know my girlfriend.
Yeah, I want to see that too, but I didn't realize that was new to my streaming thing. That it was only available for X amount of time. They took it off. I'm like, well, I'll get to it whenever I want to get to it.
Right.
It was only available for like 30 days or something. I'm like, well, I didn't know that. Shit, fill me in on that.
So on the draft, it's I think we got a bunch of interesting stuff because of the rumors tonight around the Patriots. But I wanted to mention something on the betting front real quickly. And hell, I should have freaking punched this up with a graphic. Actually, you know what? I'll get to it. I'll make a little graphic so we can actually see it. All right, what do you think is the best narrative going to tomorrow?
I think there are three things that I'm looking for. Number one, I want to see what the Rams do because they're pulling everybody off the road, like they're doing everything Zoom wise, and they're not showing up in person at any workouts or anything. So I want to see how the Rams do. I'm interested in that. I'm interested in the Pats. Because I think Belichick is got to, have a good draft. Like he's like very quickly we're going to start hearing, it's all Tom Brady. And I think he had an opportunity to tank last year and set himself up for years to come, and he didn't do it. And I think he should have. I think if anybody had the street cred, 6 Super Bowl rings, you had the cred to go tank and maximize all your resources, totally rebuild your team, get a high pick going into a great draft class. Like, I like if I were Bob Kraft, I'd have said, listen, ship everybody out. Everybody goes for draft picks in the future. Let's set us up. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Trade for teams are always willing. Like picks in the future are always, they're considered like, next year, like right now, if you wanted to trade for a 22 pick, its value is like 80 cents on the dollar. A 23 pick, 60 cents on the dollar. Well, get all those picks now, tank out, and give yourself as many resources as possible to go get one of the best quarterbacks, and preferably the number one quarterback. And so with Trevor Lawrence out there, I would have done everything I could to go 0-16. I mean, we talked about it with you and the Jets.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody would have absolutely understood what you're doing. Your fan base would have understood what you're doing.
Well, but hold on a second. There was resistance for like the first 10 weeks of the season because especially New York fans are fucking stupid. And they believe the local media where the media is like, oh, this case is terrible. Like, yes, that's what we want.
That's why you keep him.
Finally, people. Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, when he started showing, I said when he started showing signs of winning and being competent, fire him and let a player coach the team and have James Morgan, who's the 9th string quarterback, start the rest of the games. But Gase was allowed to stay on board, and they won a couple of games and won their way out of Trevor Lawrence, morons. But I agree with you. I think people are getting more understanding of being in the middle is stupid and tanking is the way to go if you're just going to suck and be 7-win team every year.
Yeah, and you don't need to build any kind of, well, we're trying to build a culture of winning here like that. You don't need to be chirping that shit. The culture is there as long as Bill Belichick's there. And so I'm surprised they didn't do it. So I want to see what he does. Right. But listen, we've got the Kansas City Royals sitting now at 15-8. And I've been critical, like, why'd you keep Salvador Perez, Whit Merrifield, and Danny Duffy around if you're going to watch them all walk at the end of their contract? Well, they re-signed Perez, right? Merrifield's under contract. But I'm like, are they all going to be no good when the Royals get back to being a contender? And they're shockingly, they were 2 nights ago the best team in baseball, record-wise, one of the best teams in baseball, right? So, like, I get it. Like, maybe the Royals are going to show that you don't have to tank to turn around and be a championship caliber club. We'll find out. But in football, nobody ever had. And I like I said, I heard the Royals talk about, like, well, you can't set that mindset. You have to build your team the right way. You have to set the precedent that you're about winning and all this. And then they lost 100 games back-to-back years. But if they're back in 4 years after their last window ended, great, right? But if you're Bill Belichick, I mean, I think you could have fast-forwarded the tank. You had all these guys who opted out.
Yep.
Trade off the ones who didn't opt out.
Man.
And reboot it.
I don't understand what he was doing this year. I said it during the year, and I love
you're talking about his free agent moves now, or are you talking about last year?
I'm talking about the way he managed last year. Lose, dude. Lose. And Pickle Gamer's joking here about Jets could have gone 0-16. Haven't heard anything about that this year. I talked about it a lot on the Vegas show, and it was high drama and for me. One of my friends is a Jets fan, and I actually talked about the fact that the Jets was their first win against the Rams, whatever it was. I said it was like that was one of the worst losses in the history of the franchise. And he's like, no, AFC champ. I'm like, dude, they may have missed out on a 12-year quarterback. It's a horrendous, loss. It was a win. They won the game. That, in essence, was a loss for the franchise. So, and Belichick, remember when Belichick and the Jets hooked up on a Monday night and the Jets pissed away the game and all the Patriots fans were like, typical Jets. I'm like, congrats on winning the game, you idiots. And look at the end of the year. You're at the 15th pick. You were terrible. You should have a top 7 pick.
Listen, if they're not going to have relegation, you should tank if you can't win a championship. Right?
The Raiders game was the game that the Jets blew basically on purpose with the Hail Mary to keep things alive. That they were doing the right thing then, but they fucked up in the other game.
So I'm interested in what Belichick's going to do in this thing. Is he going to make a play for a quarterback somewhere on the day? And then the 49ers. I mean, I believe that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's next contract rides on whether or not they get it right at number 3. Right. And can you be like, I did this thing. I just cooked this up today. I was working on it when you and I were talking, like the average, like what is like, forget about pick. Like you can go by, okay, quarterbacks picked at this, and maybe I'll do it by every pick that I can get out there. You're going to get a smaller sample size, but just the order of how quarterbacks are taken. The first quarterback taken, whatever pick he is. The second quarterback taken, whatever pick he is, right? Like my theory is that the value of the quarterback ebbs and flows like everything else, right? Quarterback value was not very high when Aaron Rodgers lasted at 24. It frankly wasn't real high when Patrick Mahomes, the second quarterback on the board, lasted to 10, right? Now, if we were doing the 17 draft all over again, Mahomes would go 2. Right? They would all be taken, and Deshaun Watson would go 3. Like, think about that quarterback class. Do you really think Trevor Lawrence is going 1? He's the equivalent to Watson. But nobody else, like Patrick Mahomes, you can say he's Wilson. Justin Fields, take your guy from the quarterback class that was that year. They would have all pushed up to the top, right? So now quarterback class, the quarterback value is higher than it's ever been. So what you have to do to go get him. So I was like, okay, let me see what quarterbacks are valued at based upon, forget about pick number, just the first quarterback in that draft, the second quarterback in that draft, the third quarterback in that draft. And the first quarterback in the draft has an average, like I just use Pro Football Focus career AV, right? One of their rankings, they come up with a value of what it is. 61.65. Right. And that includes the 2020 where Joe Burrow's got a 7. Right. So it includes the most recent one, 61.65. Second quarterback taken, 46.55. Third, 30.5. Fourth, 13.6. Fifth, 18.7. Sixth, 12.65. Then 5.95. Then 8.8. Right. So the point is, the first guy is usually the right guy. They've gotten pretty good at figuring out who the top dog is. Second, they've actually gotten pretty good at figuring out who the second guy is, right? Third is really, they're pretty good at the third guy. Fourth, after the top 3, they're throwing darts. So, like, do the Niners, are they smart enough to look at that and go, okay, we're going to get the third best guy, and so we still got a pretty good chance. It's 4 and 5 that are going to be shit. I don't know. But, like, I think the 49ers, I think John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan's jobs are on the line with who they take at number 3. And they have to they can't just have the third best guy. They have to have a guy who's a franchise-altering player. Right? They're making this move to replace Jimmy Garoppolo. If they get just Andy Dalton, like if they take Mac Jones and Mac Jones is Andy Dalton, that's just another Jimmy Garoppolo. So what the hell were you doing? You'd have been better off taking Kyle Pitts at 3, or if that's your guy, that's another one I'm scratching my head like, we're really going to take a tight end at number 3? Would be the second highest of tight ends, or number 4, the second highest a tight end's ever gone. I mean, like, how good does he have to be to justify that pick? But to the quarterback point, like, I think it's fascinating. They've set their stones on the table, and they're going to get the third choice of the quarterback. I mean, they have to believe that Zach Wilson is not the number 2 guy.
Do you think they could have gotten it 2?
Well, there are reports that what was it? They were offering somebody was offering for Sam Darnold, the 12th pick. Who's got 12?
Well, they had it. They had
12. Yeah. Oh, they were offering 12 for Darnold.
Right.
So do I think they could get to 2? No, I don't. Because I think that conversation would have been there. And if you're the Jets, you have to take a quarterback. You have no choice. I don't.
Well, as soon as you decided to get rid of Darnold, made that internal decision, then yeah, you have to get a quarterback.
Well, yeah, but was there a decision? Like, explain to me what Carolina's doing. Why do we think that Darnold's worth anything? The same team that said, oh, Teddy Bridgewater, here's a mega contract, got sideways with him in season. And listen, I watched, Rule come in here and Brady come into Kansas City, and I saw one of the gutsiest game callings I've ever seen. I mean, he was balls to the wall, onside kick, go for it on 4th down 2 or 3 times. And with a shitty team, he took the Chiefs all the way to the wire. And it was some of the best game management I've seen all year, right? So I thought that was fantastic. But, like, they went and got Bridgewater, which I have no problem. Like, that's your Alex Smith. Like, Andy Reid said, we have to improve the quarterback position. We're going to get Alex Smith. And then when we find our chance to go get the guy, we'll go get him. Well, Rule's on like a what do you get, like
7-year deal?
Yeah. So I mean, you've got time, and so either he's going to be right that this quarterback class sucks, and he got better with Darnold. Like, I think that's a pretty fascinating one. But I think in reality, Darnold's just a guy. He went from a guy to another just a guy, Jag, And meanwhile,
And they got a guy who has some upside, but they're also now looped in for the 4th and 5th year. So it's not like they really turned back the earnings clock. They didn't get a first-year guy.
no.
By the way, that deal, when you look at the numbers on the deal today for Bridgewater, where they get a 6th, and then they eat most of the Bridgewater money, and they're paying 7 this year.
Yeah.
And then they've got a ton on the cap. Bridgewater and his agent are freaking geniuses. That guy got like $40 million guaranteed. So anyone who wants to, laugh at him and be like, oh, he's bouncing around. Hey, Jameis Winston's getting like $2 million a year. Cam Newton can't get shit. Fitzy and what's his name? Dalton are capping out at like $10 million. They're all the same guy. And Teddy Bridgewater got $40 million guaranteed.
Which is my point about what the hell is Carolina thinking? Because Jameis Winston was available last year for nothing.
Yep.
Well, we don't want the turnovers. We want a guy who's going to take care of the football. Okay? He still sucks. It's amazing when you choke on your own spit.
It does hurt. Yes. Drinky time. That Broncos deal, I was talking about it today locally. We didn't go crazy on it because I want to see what happens in the draft if the Raiders botch the draft and the Broncos actually shore up some needs. I had the Broncos as the 4th best team in the AFC West. Are they now even with the Raiders or better than them even before the draft?
I think the Broncos
just because of improving from Drew Lock to Bridgewater.
So who's 2 and 3?
Who's
never
2?
mind. There's only 4. I was thinking there was 5 for a second there.
No.
Yeah. I think the Broncos have the 2nd best roster, or maybe even the best roster. Their roster might be better than the Chiefs because the Chiefs don't have depth at all. But they're missing the quarterback, which is somewhere between 51 and 60% of the equation. So I do like what the Broncos have done this offseason, but I don't know. I mean, I always want to see a second year from Herbert because 1 year in, Goff, or the second year in, Goff was a star. Now he's been pawned off. Carson Wentz looked like he was the best thing since sliced bread 1 year in. Everybody's loving Carson Wentz and what he was doing. 2 years in, he was phenomenal. So let's progress.
It's also to be seen what happens with the coaching change because the Chargers did not go offensive head coach, and the OC. I didn't hear a lot of people dying to get Lombardi from the Saints. Right. And say what you want about Anthony Lynn and Shane Steichen, who's actually a UNLV guy. And they had to be some part of Herbert's success, and you moved on from him. So we'll see. But now,
I agree.
On the odds board, Chargers over under is 9 wins. Raiders and Broncos are both 7.5. So,
and I think that's fair, but I think it's fair because it's quarterback driven though. But I think the Broncos could be a 11-6 team where the schedule smiles on them and the turnovers work their way, and Bridgewater comes in and takes care of the football, and they have a great defense and they work their way up.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the other thing to analyze with the Broncos, and it's really for the Raiders and the Broncos, both head coaches have to get better in game and managing games and coaching games like you're in 2021, not 1975. Fangio and Gruden are flawed coaches for different reasons.
Is Gruden's not as flawed as Fangio?
Gruden had a lot of moments of freaking clenching up and being super conservative.
Not against the Chiefs.
Exactly. Because you have to do that to beat the Chiefs. Even against the Chiefs, they clenched up a little bit. But they have a habit of he loves to try the friggin' bomb. And I'm not talking about the pass. He loves to kick 53-yard field goals. He loves to get conservative inside the 15-yard line. It's like, bro, it's a new NFL. Let's go. Get aggressive. Especially your defense sucks. The offense.
I'm with you on being aggressive, but maybe he's pushed Carr as far as he can go. And he knows
that's the argument we have all the time. If he doesn't believe Carr, that's the most important part. If he doesn't believe Carr can do it, then you got to move on.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. You got to move on when you find better, though. Just moving on to move on?
Hmm?
No.
Yep.
I mean, listen, I spent a lot of time going, why are they giving Alex Smith all this money? Right? He's a good quarterback, very good quarterback, whatever label you want to put on, but he's not a great quarterback. And he's making 80%, 90% of the top contract out there. I mean, that's the one thing. Carr's not that expensive.
Right now, he's only got 2 years left, though, so they have to make a decision if he's going to be a 27 or $30 million guy for 4 more years.
And that's the problem. They be like one of the things that's always going to be remembered, that's never going to be remembered when it comes to the Chiefs, is they found their guy at a time that quarterbacks weren't going for a premium. Like, are you telling me that Trey Lance is a better prospect than Patrick Mahomes was? The Chiefs got him at 10. They got the second quarterback at 10.
Right.
You know what I mean? A time that quarterbacks were high, the McNabb draft. You know, the Tim Couch goes 1, McNabb 2, Achilles Smith 3, Dante Culpepper is like 8 or 9 or 10, and then Cade McNown was it? No, what was it? Was that his name? No, who was the UCLA quarterback that was in that draft?
Yeah,
was it Cade McNown?
Yep.
I mean, they all pop off that quick. You know, I mean that was a year that quarterbacks were at a premium because Achilles Smith was going to be a great quarterback. You know, I mean, like, which one of these guys is going to suck? Because 5 of them are not going to be. There's not going to be 5 studs.
Right.
One of them, at least one of them, is Todd Blackledge from the '83 draft.
Who do you think
sucks?
I think Mac Jones 1 sucks and Zach Wilson 2 sucks.
I think Mac Jones is Andy Dalton. I actually think Mac Jones is pretty good.
Yeah, I know you do.
You think Zach Wilson's going to bomb?
I'm worried, but I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot more people the last week or so. They're like, "Hey, without all the hype the last 3 years, that Lawrence is not that far ahead of Wilson." So I don't know, man. I don't love the competition that Zach Wilson played against at BYU. Hopefully, people aren't falling in love with what he did in his college career. But people say that he can do everything that Lawrence can, and he's got a wow factor. So we will see.
Yeah, I'll take Lawrence. I'll take Lawrence.
Oh no, it's not even. I think the gap's gigantic. I think Lawrence.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, if I was going to pick a guy, I think Fields, Lance, and Mac Jones are all question marks. And Wilson, I think they're all 4 question marks.
Yep.
I mean, they've all got a question behind it, but I don't mind anybody taking them 2, 3, 4, 5, because if you get it right, then your franchise is set.
Where update me again on where's Kansas on gambling, sports gambling?
We're talking about like next year. Like they got way further than people in government told me they thought it would get. They were shocked at how far it got, and they think they're maybe like, okay, reconfigure and come back and they can get it done next year.
So if they get it done next year and they do it the right way and they have competitors in the market, then you guys will be able to bet the NFL draft next year.
Yeah, the session would be done. I don't know when, like if they passed it, when it would kick in.
Right.
I would assume it would kick in at that moment.
This is I think it's tremendous. I think it adds so much to the draft. We had the owner of the Circa and the D Golden Gate, that's downtown here in Vegas, a guy named Derek Stevens, who's just like rebuilt all of downtown, and he's a very old school Vegas guy. Does not have a corporate mindset. His sports book is really important to him. Other places in Vegas, it's basically just buried in the corner, and it's like, just let him go bet over there. We're not going to make any money on it because it really doesn't make a whole lot of money, but it can be a lost leader. So he loves it, and he's got his own sports books, right? So he set up his own sportsbook brand a few years ago, and they're as aggressive as anyone in Vegas, as anyone in the country. They put up 100 over-unders on the individual players, which is no way they win that. They can't.
Do they, like, are there mad swings?
You ready?
Like, are guys going from like 48 to 16?
He outright told us, he's like, I mean, I think he knows what they want to get a foothold. The NFL is now live here with the stadium open in the fall, and we have the draft next year. So he wanted to get a foothold. They want to establish things that they're the risk takers. They're the player-friendly book. They're not a corporate book.
Right.
So Brad Powers is on our show. He's a handicapper. He's pretty good. He's been in a bunch of contests here. Hopefully you can see this. These were the biggest position movers at Circus Sports. Right? Can you see this? I think if I try to
I can see it.
enlarge it, it's going to freaking blank out. scumbag. Look at these changes.
So Kellen Mond was at pick 170.5, and he moved to 81.5.
He got bet all the way down to 81.5. Davis Mills went from 140.5 to 66.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are huge moves.
Well, here's the problem. Not only are they huge moves, but they're so big that if the smart gambler got on it early, when
huge
the
middle,
they can do the middle. And that's exactly what Derek Stevens is like. We're in some trouble here. We know this is
but
probably...
they have to cap the amount of bets. Like, you're not going 25 grand on these. What, a $200 cap on the bet?
No, I don't know. I think it was higher than that.
Really?
Pretty good bet.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he's they're in some trouble here. And obviously I'm guessing that Brad got down on some of these, but it looks like he's recommending I think that the arrows, because he bet over the new number. So yeah, there's some big ones there. Sometimes you can get the books if they get too aggressive. Sometimes.
Yeah. No, but listen, I applaud anybody going old school loss leader Vegas mindset that, like, yeah, we might take a loss here, but people are going to come here. They're going to play their sports books. They're going to lose some games. They're going to chase over on the blackjack table. Like we're going to make ourselves somebody that'll put some real bets out there, and we don't have to win every single second of every single day.
Yep. And that's what I was saying to him. And he's not going to get into like bashing the corporate way. But I was like, hey, I really appreciate the fact that, you look at the sports book as a year long, a 2 year long, a 5 year long proposition, and it's not day to day, month to month. Because we know, I've been here long enough that we talk to other guys on sports books, and they're getting a rash of shit like every 3 days. Guys are screaming at them, and sometimes that can be the owner of the property.
Well, it's like everywhere. Like you got to play 25 a hand in Vegas now to get 3-2 blackjack,
which is so bad.
I will not play. Like they are curing me of any itch to play blackjack, because I will not play 6-5 anywhere.
Yep.
Right? It's like, it's complete bullshit, and they don't understand that. Like, just give you still have an advantage at 3-2. And like, I now, like, I come out there.
You don't at 6-5.
How much time would I spend a ton of time gambling, and now I'm like that. Nope, not doing it. Like, that's bullshit.
Yeah. They pulled the betting tonight, Pickle, at 5:00. So roughly 24 hours before. I don't think it's pulled in other states at some of those books. So the numbers are still up, but they pull it here. I guess that's their rule with gaming. So we're also very limited. We're still limited on the number of bets they put up. Like, Circa really pushed it, but hopefully it's going to get less lame here. We're getting passed by so many other states, and FanDuel and DraftKings are driving it. They're putting up so many more bets, so many more cool, creative props. So we got to get out of the old mentality, and we also have to get rid of the rules that you have to actually go into a book and sit there and fill out triplicate paperwork to open your account, because that's a giant pain in the ass too. These other states, you can do it online and deposit the money online and get it all done. So,
yeah. No, listen, you got any that you like?
What?
Any of the bets? Any of the prop bets?
No, because most of the stuff I bet a week ago doesn't have. I'm on the wrong side of. Like, I have Kyle Pitts over 5.5. I think he's going to go 4 or 5. I'm hoping we have fun with the quarterbacks. I usually bet the under every year on the total number of quarterbacks in the first round, but I went for the lottery ticket. So I have plus 335 over 5.5. So that would mean that Mond or Davis Mills has to get in there. What else did I bet? I
like the Saints to take a quarterback.
Do you?
Yeah, I think, or somebody to trade into the bottom of the first and to get you there. I think 6 quarterbacks go.
Yeah, we were talking about the teams that, the teams that need to trade up from 19 or in the 20s to get up to whatever they need to, 12, 11, 10, 9 to get maybe the 5th quarterback. There's also a chance that person could slide all the way to like 14. So, and who said it earlier? This is what I love about the draft too. If I had to pick like 8 through 20 and I don't need a quarterback. Zach said a bunch of teams are going to benefit from all these quarterbacks being taken early. There's going to be some talent that slides.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, trust me, the Chiefs, when they thought they were sitting at 31, were thrilled that 5 quarterbacks, meant 26 guys that they were interested in. Only 25 guys that they were interested in were going to go.
Yeah, if I had some middle opportunities, I'd be excited because like Mac Jones, if I had initially bet Mac Jones, it wasn't available here. It was only available at DraftKings and FanDuel.
It was in the 20s at some point.
He opened at 17.5.
So okay.
And so now, obviously now if you're under 17.5, I have Fields. I stayed on Fields at number 3. It looks like a long shot, and I'm hoping they're lying. Justin Fields to the Niners. So I have Fields at plus 225, and then I bet him again at 7-1 just in case.
I like what Hamilton said about the 5th-year option. It is true, but that does not apply that, they're more expensive. It's not the deal it once was, but at the quarterback spot, that doesn't matter. They want that 5th year. I also like that he has, what's his name, Carl, as his avatar.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love that guy. So great.
Someone keeps asking me to mention that you had a Dynamo draft analyst on today.
I did?
Maybe it was another
Today?
week. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh.
What happened?
Well, I was like, we had Seth Kaiser on,
Okay.
who writes for The Athletic. He does Chiefs film breakdown, and he has his Chief in the North newsletter. So, and we talked draft with Seth. We had on we had on
Tony says Cofield asked Saran about the stellar draft.
we had I know who it is. I'm going to get to it. We had Tyler Sullivan from CBS Sports. Does NFL stuff. He was a lot of fun to talk to. But I think where they're going is the dynamic performance of one Desmond Howard in a spot that went 9 minutes and was probably about 5 minutes too long.
Really?
I was, I don't want to say I was disappointed, but I was disappointed because I thought, that this should be good. He seems like an affable guy.
He is.
And at one point, he actually got a little pissy because I asked him to have an opinion. So I bring him on and I'm like, first thing, like, hey, Chiefs made a deal for Orlando Brown. Like, and he's on to promote that the college game day guys are going to be doing a draft show on ABC, right? So like you can get the NFL guys on, and McShay's going to be on with them. And then Kuiper's going to be on ESPN with all the NFL guys, right? So that was the purpose. They set it up. We're an ESPN affiliate. So they're like, hey, you want to have this guy on? Like, sure. Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk to, I like getting the opinions of outsiders because we get mired in our own Chiefs world, right? So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, it seems like an affable guy. Like I don't catch college game day that much, right? Because I'm busy getting shit done before the games start. So I don't know. Maybe everyone else knew, like, hey, he never says shit. Or maybe he's incredible and he had a bad day with me. But I get him on and I'm like, hey, Chiefs make a deal for Orlando Brown. They don't give up just 31, but that's part of it. These offensive tackles, I even butter them up. These college offensive tackles as well as anybody. Tell me, do they make the right move? Oh, well, I'm not going to. The Chiefs know what they're doing. Like, you don't know, like these guys, like they get to the NFL, that's a whole nother world. And you're protecting Patrick Mahomes' blind side. I'm not gonna criticize the Chiefs or whatever. And I'm like, okay. I said, so I'm like, weak sauce, but okay. So are there any of these offensive tackles that are out there? Like, any of the guys that you like? Yes. Well, which one? I let that marinate for a little bit with a nice long pause because I thought it was like, all right. So I'm like, listen, if we want to go dick mode, that's great. That's good radio too. I'll sit here and like, we want to go down that road. Go ahead. Like, I'm not going to wet my pants. I've been at this for a while. So go wherever you want to go. And I kind of thought, and I said, okay, which one? Which is a hole that you can drive a truck through. Penny Sewell. I like Penny Sewell. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, let's go a little bit on this. He goes, well, I know what you're trying to do here, but it's not as cut and dried as you're trying to paint it to be. I just, a name. Give me a fucking name. Like anybody, like have an opinion. And And so he danced around it, and then he talked about Penny Sewell. He's like, but again, you're asking a guy to protect Patrick Mahomes. Yes, I'm like, I'm asking you to play GM because that's what happens, right? That's what I do every single day. I play GM of the Chiefs, of the Royals. I give you opinions of what I think they should do. And I think I'm right more than I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm catastrophically wrong, and we laugh it off. But nobody, at least I don't want to listen to any kind of broadcast of somebody who just sits there and is like, oh, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Yeah, time will tell if I can get my foot wedged into your ass. That's what time will tell.
So it sounds like you got him, one, in probably not the greatest mood, two, in the middle or the end of his radio tour.
Yeah, and that could be. And listen, and I was like, look, I'm not going to go dick mode unless you take it there. And
Right.
so I just kind of ignored that question. I said, okay, how about the quarterbacks? I go, I think it's one of the most interesting things. I said the part about, I said, I think Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's next contract are running on getting this right. So like, if the experts are right, and it's he goes, well, that's why the experts say, and I'm like, well, who are you? Why are you on TV if you're not one of the experts? Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
The experts, like, what are you? Like, are you the gal in the low cut top? Like, what the hell's going on here? And I was like, oh, okay, I kind of heard that, and I said, well, like, who would you take if you're at 3 for the Niners? Like, I later on in the show, I said, listen, if I were hosting the ESPN or NFL Network or ABC draft show, I would make every single person on the set tell me who they would take if they were the Niners.
Right.
Right. When that pick comes around, because I think it's a compelling topic. Right. But they're like, TV is so scared. It's why, and they're going to lose audience to every kind of like, I'll tell you what I'm checking out. Pro Football Focus is going to be live streaming the whole time.
Right.
And I know that there is no lack of sack at Pro Football Focus. And those guys will be rocking and rolling. And, I did an interview with George Cheruri from PFF the day before, where he basically said he doesn't like the Orlando Brown trade, and, he doesn't like the Joe Thuney signing. And it was great. We went back and forth, and he's a big boy. I'm a big boy. He laughed at some of my statements. He gave his facts on why mine are shit. I gave my facts on why I think his are shit. We disagreed. At the end, we walk away. We're big boys. It was a lot of fun. I'm like, you, like, this has sent me to, if this is where television is going, then I'm going to the internet, right? Because I want to see what PFF's going to do. Now, I am going to see what Desmond Howard says at pick number 3. But he literally, I said, okay, so who would you take? And he talked for like 2.5 minutes just saying, oh, there's guys, and Trey Lance is an interesting story, and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but who would you take? And I thought about it. I'm like, do I go back at him and this thing goes sour, or do I just move on and let's get through it? And so I just moved on. And then I asked him for one of my Final Fours. I do for people who don't hear my program.
That's tough.
Yeah, four quickies.
That is tough.
Right, 4 quickies at the end. It always goes quick as
stonewall you on lights. Please tell me he didn't stonewall you on light stuff.
So I asked him, does Jim Harbaugh get it done at Michigan? Hope so. No follow-up.
Like, that's where I think everyone's got to go Chad Dukes on him.
Well, I think it hope so. I'm like, okay, so Desmond Howard's not on board with Jim Harbaugh. I mean, he's clearly not on board with Jim Harbaugh.
Right.
But I'm like, have a fucking opinion. Like, I'm like, that's what we're paid to do.
Brady, the protector of radio, he's getting all mad.
Like, are we really that afraid of a few tweets that are like, oh, you screwed that one up? Jesus, Petro, you screwed that one up.
What?
Like, here's the thought. Don't read the shit that comes at you at that time. Like, just move on with your life. You're paid to give opinions. You're going to screw some up. You're going to catch some shit. Like, wow, tough job. They don't come with bullets. Okay. I'm not in a trench ducking bullets. Somebody says I got it totally wrong on a draft. Yes. I did take a shot at Syracuse because my first Final Four was when is college game day at Syracuse? And I always, and people I don't talk to around, I'm like, okay, just give me the first thing that pops in my mind. He goes, well, the first thing that pops in my mind is winning. It's just like when they win, I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'd like to see a little more winning.
Yeah.
But All right. I mean, not a bad guy. Listen, I don't want to say anything negative about him, but just like I was like you're trying to promote your show. And I got a text from a guy who's like, note to self, don't watch the ABC draft show.
Right.
Like if this is what I'm getting, don't watch. Like, that's great. You're gonna put guys out on a tour, but somebody pull their head out of their ass and send the guys who might be good.
Right. Man, I don't think they think it through that much, but like in essence, him being on your show, the majority of the audience is gonna be like, I'm actually not gonna watch that show now. I was gonna give it a chance, but you just have to.
But they don't think it through because like George Cheruri's on and he's like, hey, PFF, we're gonna be streaming live during the draft. And if you listen to my show, and we put Desmond, I mean, full disclosure, I taped Desmond Howard at 12:50, right? So I knew what was coming. I put him in the 2:00 hour. I didn't put him in the 5:00 hour when everyone's in the car. I put George Cheruri in the 5:00 hour because I know he's going to bring it. And so, like, if you heard both those interviews, like, which broadcast are you more likely to watch? I mean, they're going to get more because there's still people that don't know how to subscribe to the PFF YouTube channel.
Right.
But I'm going to be watching it during the draft. Like I do the draft show on Thursday, and even though we don't have a pick, I'm going to do it. I'll probably be talking less. We go back and forth like, okay, we're going back to ESPN National. And then it's like, okay, this pick happened. This matters to the Chiefs, right? Like, okay, this one affects who they're doing. Here, blah, 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 blah. Let's bring in Tim Grunhard, Grunny. We talked about like if the centers start to go, that's the second center, whatever it is. And we kind of supplement what ESPN's doing. We blow out a bunch of commercials and we give you, a lot more programming. So that's how we kind of handle the draft. And, so I'm probably not, we don't have a first round pick, to break down tomorrow. So I'm not going to talk as much, but like while I'm sitting here monitoring things on this computer screen, PFF's going to be, it's going to be one of the things I'm going to be watching. It's going to be the first time I've ever not just been bouncing around the TV channels.
Do you give him a second chance on Monday as one of your key guests?
Yeah, I would just because we had the conversation. We ran it so we could react to it afterwards. And I'm like, listen, again, not a bad guy, but like, you can't just come on and be like, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if I shit in your hat. Like, what is this?
Trent could be onto something. Maybe he was booking a flight to Pensacola, got all pissy, and then projected it towards you.
Mm-hmm. I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't even. What's going on here? Is Mel not doing stuff with McShay anymore?
No, I think they want to get a second broadcast going. They're like, okay, let's try to divide and conquer on NFL Network. If somebody doesn't like our crew here, let's give them a second option that's not just NFL Network. Like if we can go from 50-50 to 33-33-33, we get 66% of the viewers. And so they need an NFL analyst. So Mel's on one, McShay's on the other.
And you love Kiper, right? You're a big Kiper guy?
Well, I am for the history. Yeah. I don't think he's perfect. Like he's a human being, but I do like Mel because he's been around forever. He does his homework and he has opinions. Like I almost didn't even give a shit if you're right. Just have an opinion.
He does.
Why, you don't like Mel?
I like McShay more than Mel. But I've come to appreciate Mel over the years. So he's good. He knows his stuff. He's got opinions.
Why do you like McShay more? I mean, I think there is a fatigue factor. Like I've heard this guy for a long time. And I think ESPN recognized that. There's a lot of people like, well, I've heard Mel for all these years, but Mel's good, right? Like I think you and I fight that, right? You've been on in Vegas forever. I've been on in Kansas City forever. Like we have to constantly work to be like, well, like I've said for 30 years,
right?
The team that scores more points is going to win. Like shit, I've heard that from you fat ass forever. Yep. Like you got to constantly be evolving. Right. And there's a little bit of Mel's in such a narrow, spot he's got to be. But like, I think the hair and the presentation, and I think he doesn't try to be a character, but he is a character.
Hey, he's a junkie. Based on the fact that he's a junkie, he's a character.
Yeah,
It's funny. Last week, our guy Candy was talking about Adam Candy was talking about Mel Kiper, and I guess I can't remember there must have been an argument between Kiper and I don't know which one it was over, but it was Kiper and Todd McShay, and Kiper's just yelling Todd at him, But when Candy did it on the air, he was trying to do like Mel's like Baltimore area accent,
Right.
and I when Candy first said it, I thought on the air, I thought he said twat. I was like as he said it 5 times, I was like, oh, he said Todd. I was like, dude, easy with the twat on the live radio. Come on now.
So I had to make a note. I had an idea for tomorrow's show. So
Good.
You
And
got
you
me
know,
thinking.
Brady's right. Good on Mel for finding a 3-decade niche of a career. By the way, for people, because I'll always
He does radio.
Yeah, I know.
Every Saturday,
and he's got opinions. I mean, yeah, this is,
and he might do more in Baltimore.
I don't care how annoying Greeny is to people. Greeny can do any. He can be completely ridiculously annoying. No Berman. No.
Well, Berman started mailing it in at some point.
Yeah.
Is Greeny the host of the draft?
I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, because they shit canned Trey Wingo.
Oh yeah. What was that about? Just
I don't know anything about it. I know one thing. We talk about this all the time. These guys who agree to do radio, when they have some leverage, they're like, I'll do a morning show. Dude, you don't know what you've signed up for. You have no idea. Like, dude, if you want to do radio, then just do the morning show. But if you're going to be an anchor and that's your main gig and you think you're just going to skate by, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, good luck. Yeah, good luck being fired up 4 months into that thing, because it ain't easy.
Yeah, I listen. I always say and I have great respect for writers, for TV. Each medium has its own, thing that makes it great. Ours is that we have time and we can go in depth, but 90-second sportscast all day to write for 90 seconds highlights. Yep. Sports Center, it's an hour, right? With 50 people. You're a writer. You get 3 days to write what takes me 8 minutes to read. Okay, now come do 4 hours every day, or what ends up being 168 minutes of talk time over 4 hours, with stories dropping and expected to react immediately. I'm not saying. I will say it's the hardest. Play-by-play guys, here's what I see. Now there are guys that are poetic and do it better, but just as far as okay, here it is, 4 hours, let's go. I mean, I told the story on the air. Was it on this show, or was it? No, it was on my show. That when I used to do Royals pre and post, it would rain. Did I do this last week?
You have, and they started freaking out.
I did. Okay, that's not mine.
Yeah, that might have been off the air too. I don't even know if you said it on the air. I know you said the play-by-play guys would start freaking out. Hey, we need someone to fill this time. We're not.
It would rain, and the engineers come up and go, "Where are they going to get in the booth? We're going to throw it to you. We're going to throw hey, 5 minutes. Let me finish my dinner. Right? I just did the pregame, and you're going to throw it back. It's just settle down, guys. You can't talk about the team for 5 minutes without them batting a ball to be able to have something. So, I mean, listen, I'm not going to say we split atoms or cure cancer here, but, come and give it a go.
All right. Reese Davis doing the ABC.
Yeah, it's the whole college game day one, isn't it? Who's on ESPN? Is it Greeny?
But I know Greeny's leading. Dude, honestly, I don't even look up who's doing these shows. I turn it on, who's ever on. You watch if it's NFL Network.
Well, you had knowledge of it. That's I don't.
Well, I just knew. I knew that Greeny was doing it.
Okay. So he'll spend the entire. Is he doing it all 3 days or just the first day?
I'm guessing just the first day, and I don't know who takes over from there.
Then I assume he'll talk about the 5 quarterbacks all day because it's all he's done on his television show for the last 6 weeks.
Yep.
He's going to shit himself when Kyle Pitts goes. Literally.
I know.
And with the 4th pick, the Atlanta Falcons select Kyle Pitts. He's going to be like,
man, I will say, and this is not to rip the guy, but his the radio shows they're offering us in the middle of the day, our middle of the day, it's pretty crazy for ESPN radio affiliates because they've got Kellerman with by himself, Max, check that, Greeny by himself, and then Bart and Hahn, which is actually on ESPN, whatever it is in New York, whatever the number is. I think those 3 shows are in a row, and I don't get to listen to Greeny in the morning, but we actually do a feature called Greeny's Wine of the Week, and it's backed up by a liquor company. And our sound people, not me, our vast sound department,
Right.
we'll go look at the descriptions of the show because I'll try to find something real quick that will get the other guys on the show worked up about Greeny because most of them don't like him. And man, you want to talk about a national show that will only talk about New York and maybe Philly and Boston? Holy shit! And then Kellerman's the same way. I'm like, you realize? I mean, it's not like a money generating spot for us right now until we go local again. But guys, try a little bit to cover something outside of the region.
Well, I mean, there's some formula there monetarily that they think works.
Yeah.
But I will tell you the whole, I'm going to, the radio show is the one that takes all your time.
Yeah.
I mean, you have I think I always thought Greeny was the guy who was the talent with him and Golick. And I think that's proven out, but I'm not a hater, but I am disappointed in I'm disappointed in what that show delivers in the mornings. I never hear the radio show, but if it's mailed in, it'll suck.
I'm sorry, John. It's just, and I told everyone this would happen. I'm not bashing the guys. This is what happens, man. When you're doing a TV show and that's how you make most of your money, you're going to slide over to the radio show and walk in probably saying, "Hey, what do you guys got for me?" And that's not the best way to do 2 hours of radio.
Doesn't that speak to Van Pelt's? He's like, okay, I'm done with the radio. This is it.
And I think while he was doing both, he did a pretty good radio show, but he also had a good partner. Ryan Russillo is a good radio guy. So you got it. When you put him solo, it's like whatever the producers got, and then whatever you were talking about on your TV show is probably what you're going to talk about. And
Stanford Steve was on the radio as well, right?
He was, yeah.
He was producing as well, so we had good people around him.
Yeah. All right, we're going deep on radio nonsense. So,
yeah, well,
I was thinking about it.
As we know, this show is for us, Steve. Jump in the car, come along. We'll take everyone for a ride, but it's about what you want and what I want.
I'm gonna get to talk about what I want.
That's right.
What you want.
It's usually Steve's bitch of the week. Wine of the week.
Let's do a couple of happy moments to close out. Can you think of anything you've purchased in the last couple of weeks that made you really happy? You were like, "Hey, you know what? It could be a freaking pizza crust for all I know. What doesn't matter."
Well, I got a new computer. That makes me happy.
Man, that screen's big. I was impressed. You showed me a shot of the screen. That's big.
Yeah, it's got a big screen, and so I can put a lot of things on it. And then with my old man eyes, I can make things bigger. So that I am enjoying that. I got to figure out.
Brady, why your TV? What's so special about it? How big is it? Is it curved? What is it? What's the deal?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And this goes for the room. What was your best purchase of the last couple of weeks? Let's see if it measures up to mine.
Okay, let me think. Best purchase last couple of weeks. I like that. I got my daughter a softball bag.
Here we go.
Right? That's probably what I take.
This softball and basketball stuff. I'm liking what I'm hearing.
So, my kid, last night, and my kid's cursed with my athleticism, right? But she's smart and tough. And so I take great pride in her ability to play team sports because she's the ultimate teammate. And that makes me very, very happy and very proud. But softball's not a game of explosive movement. She's a great pick setter and defender, but softball, she is and I'll give credit to my buddy Jamie Bluma, who used to pitch for the Royals. We got her some lessons with Jamie Bluma. when she was first starting softball, and I told her, I said, listen, my kid is not going to get a scholarship, right? I'm not asking you to make her, the starting pitcher for UCLA or, the cleanup hitter. Like, I just want you to give her the basics, right? The right way to throw a ball, hit a ball, and so that she has the best chance to be as good as she can be and enjoy the sport and learn the lessons that team sports get, right? So Jamie did a phenomenal job. She loved going with Jamie. And when she was little, this is 3 or 4 years ago, and had a great time, and he made it fun. He made catching the ball and throwing the ball fun. Gave her some things to work on that we'd work on at home. And now she's a good little player. And she came up against a kid that I swear to God, I've never seen anyone at 5th grade. I thought Cy Young, like this girl looked like she was ready to pitch for UCLA. She had the whole, like this big stretch wind up and then the whip through. And our leadoff hitter is my buddy Jason's daughter, who's like the best athlete, 5th grade athlete in the city. And she couldn't get the bat head. It's the first time we've seen anybody throw this hard. And she kept fouling it into the dugout, right? She was getting the bat head on, and she can really hit. But she's fouling into the dugout. And so I told my dad, I said, listen, you got to time her out. You got to get out here. You got to get in the circle. You got to time her out because you're going to have to load the swing early, get ready to go. And, she came and she pulled her. She actually pulled it over, hit one between third and short for a base hit and an RBI. And so we get done and watching her put her mitt in the bag and her bat in the thing and wear it. And, she made a couple, we got smoked, by the way, but she made a bunch of the outs, catching it and throwing it that our team made. And just seeing the pride that she had and put her shit in the softball bag and everything, I was like, oh, yeah. So I'm going to take the softball bag because she's like, I'm a ball player. Yeah, my team got their ass kicked, but I'm a ball player. And I thought that was awesome. That made me very happy.
That's great. I wish I was as selfless and I was going to point to a purchase for someone else, but I won't. I'll give mine in a second. I gave one of them last night, but Tony says, wife is allowing me to purchase a new bar grill and smoker.
That's nice.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
That's huge.
I'm putting some money into the backyard again, and I'm either going to do a built-in for a barbecue or do a barbecue/bar. What should I do, Petro?
Wait, a barbecue or a bar?
I'm going to do either a barbecue, like just like build something out, have my concrete guy build something out to put the barbecue in, or I may do barbecue and bar.
Right, so first of all, this is
grill and bar.
Yeah.
Grill and bar, but I don't have enough room. Like it's going to shrink down it's a little risky with the bar part. And it is 100 degrees plus here for a good, 3.5 months.
Right. But in the winter, it's a great time to grill.
It'll be awesome.
I've been around your space.
What should I do? What should I do, Room?
I would not do the bar. I would do the grill. Because you're getting more and more into cooking.
Yeah.
And like the bar sounds great, but like no one's gonna sit there. Like they're all gonna sit by the pool.
Or they're gonna sit underneath the patio because it won't be underneath the patio. I'd have to build.
What do you mean underneath the patio? You mean underneath the cover?
Yeah. I'm sorry. The patio is the overall thing. Yeah, the cover. The cover for the patio. So they're gonna sit under there. Or I could make it into like a tiki type thing. But I have a feeling a lot of people during the summer are not going to want to sit over at some bar.
I think those are a great picture, but they don't get used.
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
Full kitchen's too much. I'm not wealthy. I don't have a big enough yard to do that.
No, but you could do grill and then counter space that acts as a bar.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Okay.
Like what are you going to get for a grill? What are you putting in there?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know because I was thinking I was just building. My initial idea was just to build something on like a sidewall that would just house my existing grill. But now I'm thinking about it. I'm guessing for like to put it into a built-in, all you need is like the top of the barbecue, right? Or the grill.
Right.
God damn, I keep saying barbecue.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's a Jersey thing. My guys, you can call the Kansas City Barbecue Store, the Kansas City BBQ Store.com.
Right.
Right. That's the website. and our buddy Dan Jacobs bought his
Right.
grill from
That's
them,
right.
had it shipped out, and tell them what you're looking to do and what it is, and they'll be happy to
Oh,
get
boy.
you set up with whatever you want.
All right.
What are you? So are you getting just a regular grill? Are you going to get like big green egg or?
I have no idea. I wasn't even thinking about buying something new. So this is kind of a new idea. I had an idea. I have a concrete guy and I want to spend a certain amount of, at least a minimum amount of money with him because I'm cheap. The more concrete I get, the cheaper the price. So, if they're going to have the freaking truck come out, and you only get a little
right.
it's more expensive. So now I'm trying to concrete every goddamn thing I can. I actually tried to work a deal with my neighbor because she's got a little rock strip that looks like ass next to my driveway. And I was like, I'll have him do it. And I'll even pay for some of it. And she's like, yeah, I can do like $200. I'm like, you fucking, it's not gonna be $200. All right. That's ridiculous. Like it's a decent sized strip. I mean, 200. Fucking cheap ass. So I got to come up with something else. So,
yeah, go with the grill. Cause but build it out a little bit. Right. So you got an area where somebody can come lean on it. Like that's one of the things I thought about doing. Because like when we moved, we had the house we bought was a disaster, and I was going to do like a built-in thing, and I didn't do that, and so all I have is my grill, which is on wheels. I do have a built-in gas line, which was smart, but I roll it out, but nobody comes and hangs out with me because there's like nothing to lean on. So yeah, here's the cheese, Dad. I'm out. Like, oh, okay. If there was some chair kind of set up or somehow, then maybe somebody'd hang out with me, but I'm just out there by myself, which listen, as a man who lives with 3 women, there are some times that I'm thankful that nobody comes out and hangs out with me.
Yep. Yeah. Petro did a good job. His backyard's pretty cool. Yeah, my concrete guy just, he does a good job. He always gives me a good deal. So it's a guy named Dean, not an advertiser, maybe down the road, but his place is called
Let's go, Dean.
Yeah, he's pretty
What's
cool.
it take to get Dean on the air? What are we throwing him free love for?
I'll explain off the air. Might not be his fault.
No, that's fine.
I'm
sure Dean. I'm just busting chops.
Might be a lazy salesperson.
If you need all Dex to come out and build something for you, I can ask Cass and the guys if they'll come out and if they'll fly out to Vegas and build for you.
I don't think any of my projects are big enough to make it worth it.
Allweatherdex.net. Take a look.
Let's see. Other great purchases the last couple of weeks. Come on, dude. You're a sicko. Chris Weidman got the floppy leg. That's not cool. But I mean, I guess it's worth the money. You saw someone snap their leg in a UFC fight. Pro Martini Maker just said some steaks from the butcher shop. Pork butt.
Yeah,
too.
Nice.
Is this the grill I should buy, or is that the grill that you got, Razorback?
That's Traeger's grill. Yeah.
Right. Q Levy said best purchase last 2 weeks was tickets to Aruba. That must be nice. Kirk, this was actually a month ago for me. I got some new socks too, and I was thrilled for a couple of weeks. They're pretty good.
What kind of socks?
Did he get or did I get?
You.
Just very cheap, like low black socks. Just the simple things make me happy.
They're simple. I mean, they're cheap.
Oh yeah.
So I bought some features.
What's that?
FEETURES.
Well, like $10 a pair.
Yeah. And you know what? I hate to say it, they're the best socks ever.
Oh, that's weird. Why? They're super comfortable.
Yeah, they are. They're like tight on the arch part and give you like support. Like if you can, they even have them that they're right and left sock. They're made for right and left foot, and I actually have to admit, like I think I'm buying those for socks.
Wow.
And they're like thread count is like, I was like, all right, I'll try one pair, and it's like really good. I was like, okay, I'm buying it. I'm in.
Someone said I should get an outdoor projector screen and have like a circa Cofield Stadium swim. Actually, that is part of the problem with my backyard is that the asshole who owned the house before decided to do like caveman stucco and had like the most vicious sponge ever and was just sponging it and like pulling it off the wall. So the wall, the wall is disgusting. So that's the other thing. My concrete guy has to do the friggin' wall, so that's going to cost some money.
I put up Brady's. Put up Brady's down there at the bottom.
Let's see. So Petro is no longer blue collar man. Everyday man. Yeah. Fucking right. And that's not. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here.
Listen, I'm telling you, I think the socks are going to last like 20 years. They're like so well made. I don't have 500 pairs. I got a couple of pairs, and when I wear like my other socks, I'm like, they feel different. That's all I'm saying.
Brady saying outdoor kitchen is his favorite spot in the house.
There you go.
Yeah,
100%.
I also, I think you also have to be smart when you invest in your house. If you live in like a so-so area, I think there's a limit to what you should be putting in the house. So I kind of fight that. We're not going to be here forever.
Really?
No.
Well, then I think like deck, patio, all that stuff. It's like 80 cents on the dollar or something. What do they say? What do they say you get back on what you spend on that?
I don't know. I talked to Dustin DeHart, and he was like, "Yeah, we had a whole conversation on the air yesterday, which I hope actually didn't come off as like obnoxious because, Dustin's very wealthy, and we start talking about the backyard, and I'm like, there's probably a lot of listeners out there who are just coming out of the pandemic who are struggling, and I sound like an asshole talking about getting my stupid backyard fixed. So I think you got to be careful on that.
Yeah, you're not talking about building a ballpark back there.
No. But more relatable is the fact that I'll make this real quick. My two best purchases. One, I have an auction site. That's why that I buy stuff off of, and that's why I have so much shit in my garage. I just collect junk. I told the audience that was on last night with us. I'll do it real quick. There was an estate sale. They have estate sales every once in a while, so I was looking through all this stuff they had at this house, and I couldn't tell how big the house was, but you could tell the furniture was like really nice, too high end for me, and wouldn't match my house. So then sometimes you'll just see they'll just put miscellaneous in a bin, right? It's just bins of shit, and I could see there was a bunch of wires in there. So, and this is the stuff I like. I was like, I need some extension cords. I brought it home. Well, first of all, I went up. I drove all the way out to Anthem, which is one of the wealthy areas here. And I get up to the top of the hill, and I walk in the house. I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice. I look it up after I leave. It had just sold for $3.3 million, that's a lot here. It was 8,500 square feet, and the thing I got was a bin of cords. And I told, again, the audience heard this last night, but I think I got every single extension cord they had in this house. So last night I was counting it out, and I got it was like $10 for the bin. I got 2 pairs of work gloves, a little outdoor spotlight that goes on the ground that you can shine up on a tree. I got 44 extension cords.
What do you need with 44? How much? How much though?
It was I think with they charge a little bit. It might have been a total of $15. So
that's
I got like
deal.
250 footers. Then a bunch for the house, a couple of heavy duty. I got then they had some old stuff. Like I got like one of those it's almost like I don't even know what you call it, like a light for a crawl space. We don't have crawl spaces here. You bring the little light in, like with the cord's 50 feet long. Like my father used to use that in New Jersey. But like I was counting it out. I'm like, yeah, I got him. What a purchase! And I will tell you, the other thing I bought, it's so stupid because I didn't even know these existed. I hate nothing more than having to go fill my tires at a gas station. I fucking hate it.
You have to have a I have one. What are they called? They're like that.
It would be a compressor, but you can buy
compressor.
A mini compressor. Yeah. I bought the last time my girlfriend and I were out, she's like, "Oh, my the air in my tires is low," and I know I'm going to get the answer like, "Oh, when you go get it serviced, have it filled." I get it. Her tires were low, but it was getting a little bit hot here, and then the goddamn machines now don't work half the time. They don't run that long, and the last time I went, it's all it's quarters, or you try the credit card slot, it never fucking works. And so I put all the quarters in, and I hate doing it. I'm like, I'm fat, I'm breaking my ass, bending over.
You yank the cable around to the other side. You're ripping. You're like, am I tearing off the fender of the car here with this thing? It's a pain in the ass. You have to get a compressor.
So it's so bad. And the last time I went, I was so annoyed doing it, and I filled 3 tires. I didn't have enough time in there to fill the 4th. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. So I bought the little machine. You just set it. You set it with the PSI. It's beautiful. Like a very small purchase, but just thrilled. I'm like, that part of my miserable existence is done. Now, my guess is it'll break after 2 tries, and I'll wind up owning 6 of them, most of them broken. But we'll see what happens.
Well, I got a good one. I'll go look at what I have. If it breaks, I'll tell you what to get. They're not even that expensive.
They're not expensive. I got this one for like $50-$55. There were more expensive ones, so I'm hoping they work with the inflatables for the pool as well.
They will. They're
Yes.
good. Set the gauge and go.
Wait, am I a guy's guy that I bought my own? Am I a guy? Did someone? What did someone say? Yeah, I am. House projects. I am Clark Griswold. The simplest stuff here that should take 10 minutes with a real guy's guy. I'm like 45 minutes in, and I'm like, why is this so hard? Why am I stupid and uncoordinated and impatient?
I bought a drill not long ago, and I thought, wow, I have arrived.
Yeah, I have 2. They work pretty well. Now, what you're going to find out is you're going to need like a mini one that has better angles that you can get into tight spaces. So,
I know I bought the mini one.
oh, good.
I didn't buy a big one. I'm like, what the hell am I going to? I'm going to be hanging some pictures and shit, like hanging some hooks.
Exactly, Joe Jayhawk.
Yes.
I gotta pay for air.
You're paying for air. That's why you get the compressor. Bullshit. I'm not giving you $1. And who the fuck's got 8 quarters anywhere?
That's the other thing.
Drag your ass in, put a mask on, go get change. Bullshit. Get a compressor. You think you're gonna fill your tires, 40 times before you die? Then the compressor's a good buy. It's not free at QT, is it?
Oh my God. You guys are rubbing it in again.
By the way, you love the QTs. Steve loves the QTs when he comes to town.
Although a couple of your listeners I think they were getting mad last week. It was like 10 minutes of convenience store talk. I'm like, I like convenience store. Sorry.
You're a fan.
Yes.
Get you a taquito.
Yeah. Oh, go on. We can close on this one. You might have more to say, but you were asking about the bet I like the most. Where is shit? Someone was giving us good information on the Broncos about what the Broncos are going to pick. I have a bet on the first defensive player drafted is Patrick Surtain, and Adam was suggesting today that the Broncos getting Bridgewater might kind of F that up because Parsons could go as high as 9, and then someone was saying earlier that that guy Benjamin Albright, he's a little weird, but he's got good information. The guy in Denver, that he was saying Parsons wasn't even on their board, which could be the case. I mean, if he really does have, some red flags and discipline issues, there could be some teams who are like, nope, we are not touching that guy.
Oh, the boards are all different. So what's your bet?
That Patrick Surtain will be the first defensive player taken. So it would have to be. It probably has to be someone getting geeked up to take a cornerback in the top 10, or the Cowboys taking him at 10.
Yeah, it'd be him, the South Carolina corner. I'm like, who'd be in the mix for
J.C. Horn, Parsons,
one of the Penn State or Notre Dame linebacker? I think could shock some people because of that.
Yeah. Someone could go crazy over Barmore. He's all over the boards.
I don't get it. An interior defensive lineman, aren't we getting away from that? I mean, the best interior defensive linemen were not the first few guys taken. Chris Jones, 2nd round. Grady Jarrett was like later than that. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think it might be. Oh, well, it might be Phillips from Miami. I think he's going to be healthy.
He ain't plus 175. I'm guessing Phillips was probably 7-1 or 8-1. So
I think there's value there.
Oh, I didn't say I love the bet. I was just hoping it was still in play that Parsons wasn't going to somehow jump in front of him. But you're right. It could be J.C. Horn. There could be a team out there that likes him best at cornerback. People are saying it's the air's free at QT. I think you better check tomorrow. We need some info on this.
Well, I mean, that's good. You still got to stretch the damn cable all the way around your car.
It does suck, I know. Or drag it across and potentially scratch the car.
As opposed to plugging into your cigarette lighter
That's right. That's right. You can plug it into an extension cord or do the cigarette lighter.
Cigarette lighter is the only thing I do.
You just set it and it stops when it's ready.
You put it on one side of the car, and it's an easy reach to each tire, and then you go through the car and set it on the other side of the car, and it's the best. And you do it in your house. You get in what do you do? Like QT's not coming to you.
Yep. You know what? I'm going to do it right now. I filled the tires 3 days ago. I'm just going to go down and I'm going to fill a tire because I want to.
You can. You're your own man.
I'm wealthy beyond belief. That whatever it was, that $3.3 million house, they didn't have one of these. Sucked.
Yeah, I'm proud
a lot of fancy furniture and paintings. What do they do? What could they do? So tomorrow for the draft, what are you doing?
So I'm doing our draft. Me and Grunhard kind of bailed on us. He's doing something for the Chiefs.
Oh, nice.
And so it's me and Curtis, and basically we'll be, taking in the draft, and then if something happens that's pertinent to the Chiefs, then we'll be jumping in. So we'll be, I don't know, my guesstimate, 15, 20 minutes each hour.
Okay. Well, you can jump on my draft show because I'm going to go live. I'm going to do it on this platform. We're going to do the podcast early. So I'm going to be over at
the Raiders, with all their maneuvering, they have like 3 first-round picks, right?
They don't.
Yeah, I know. But you at least have a first. We don't even have a first here.
Well, you have a starting left tackle for the next 5 years. So
you like that? You like the move or no?
Yeah, I've ranted for 5 days that the rest of the division sucks. That the Chiefs continue to have like 15 guys who seem to be making big money, and they're like, yeah, we'll get a left tackle that we got to pay big money to. Oh, and we're gonna have to cut someone. Doesn't matter. We're gonna get guys in the draft. It's gonna work.
Who's playing left tackle for the Raiders?
The Raiders are paralyzed by the draft.
Who's playing left tackle for the Raiders?
Actually, I misspoke. They're paralyzed by the cap. It's Colton Miller, who they drafted in the same draft as Orlando Brown. They actually already signed him to an extension.
No, I know they did.
He's going to make about 17 a year, which I think they believe that they're getting away with something there. That hey, by then, the 5 best tackles are going to be making like $25 million a year, and we got them for 17. So we'll see.
I am. I will say this, like I sat for years and said, why does everybody keep letting the Patriots make the move they need to make?
Yep.
And I'm saying that for the Chiefs. Now, again, the PFF guys, they're not enamored with the trade. But if you go by the old school chart, they gave away all the picks that are coming and going, they gave away pick number 45 for him. If you go by the PFF chart, they gave away pick number 28. And so, like, either way, they get him. The problem is he's only cheap for 1 year.
Right. Can you make the argument that getting a fresh left tackle, maybe the 5th left tackle in the draft, with the beginning of the salary clock is better than getting a guy who you think you've already seen him. He's good, but you got to pay him.
Yeah, I will tell you that there is not, like, everyone talked about how deep this tackle class is. That was bullshit. It's not.
I'm gonna leave it to.
I would too. I'm
gonna leave it.
Well
to the
said. Well played.
I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to go out on a limb here. I might make a mistake. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. So, yeah,
I would too. But no, listen. I'm going to tell you that clearly Kansas City went and said 31-63. Don't like any of this shit. I'm going to tell you the view is from Kansas City. The view is that there's a bunch of 3rd-round tackles. Wow. And then the guys that are really worthy, that are available, are all going to be gone by like 20, 25.
Well, then I hope an impact cornerback is there for the Raiders, or one of the 2 linebackers rated that high, and they wait to take offensive line later. But they need a right tackle.
Didn't handle it in free agency. Like, if you had to play today, who's the right tackle?
So maybe they slide out Denzel Good again because he's a guard and a tackle. I don't know. Mayock mentioned he's like, we signed a guy off the street a couple weeks ago. We really like him. I'm like, stop, dude. You're not playing freaking. Yeah.
Yeah. I the one thing I will say is that I like about the Orlando Brown trade is I never want to go into a draft feeling like I have to take a position. And the Chiefs were headed in this draft having to take a left tackle, find a premium position. And I don't think Orlando Brown's going to be better than Trent Williams. He is an ascending player. He's gotten better every year, and he's going to turn 25, I think, Sunday. So his best football is in front of him. So I do like that. But I think he'll top out on the PFF grades around 10, maybe. If the Chiefs get lucky. But now they don't have to take a left tackle.
We got to get out of here. I can't, because I'm starting to think about the Raiders offseason and the holes. I mean, you can't be this far along in a regime and have this many holes on the team.
That's my point. Is like you have to go into every draft knowing you can line up and play today. Like the teams that suck are the teams that are like, we don't have a tight end. We have to take a tight end. Well, you usually get screwed. And so that's what I like about what the Chiefs did. Like, did they overpay a little bit? Maybe. Is he going to cost more than you want to pay him under the cap? Maybe. But like, you have to have a left tackle. And this guy's a legit left tackle. Is he number one? He's not number one. But he's not number 50. Right? Like, he's up there. And so they can go into the draft and, if a great D end is there, that's what I think they need most. D end, linebacker, then wide out. But if you're like, I can't believe this, there is a corner here that we had no idea was going to be here at 58, they can take him.
Yep.
Because they can line up and play everywhere else.
Well, so tomorrow I'm doing a draft show. I'm doing it from the Battleborn Studios. I'm going to shuffle in a bunch of the football people we know. I'd like to have you on for a couple minutes, Petro, to react. Sure. We're going to start around the Chargers pick. So I'm guessing the Chargers pick at 13 hopefully we'll be at like 6:45 Pacific time. We're going to, be on through the Raiders pick, probably go on for another 5 picks, the whole time analyzing what happened early in the draft, and we'll have a bunch of the football guys on. So we'll be live on video. No legal podcast. We're just going to do the pod a little earlier. So
you're going to do how much? How long?
I don't know, hour and a half.
Really?
Yeah, probably max. Yeah.
Well, I'm going 6 to like 2A. And by the way, my show ends at 6. So I'm going like not 2A. I should somewhere between midnight and 1 because we're going till Brett Veach talks. He's going to talk at the end of hour 1. So I'm doing 2P to like 1A, and you're doing what, 2P, a break?
I'm doing
an hour and a half?
I'm doing 1 to 4 p.m. because I told them we're not equipped to do a show that's better than I'm honest with the bosses. I'm like, we're not equipped to do a show that's better than the national show leading into the draft. And you have to remember, we have a Raider station. They've dedicated all this money. They've got all this talent over on the Raider station. That's where the Raider stuff is going to be. So
right.
I'm not part of the Raider station. So I get to watch the draft and I get to do a web-based show. And you know what? If you want to listen to the best coverage, mine will be secondary. Then I'm sure JT the Brick will be running things, and Vinny Bonsignor will be involved. Those are the guys in the afternoon on Raider Nation Radio, 9:20 a.m. So make sure you listen to them. I think it'll be a good show. And I know for a fact they will have on. Mayock will be on. 80% Gruden will be on every single. Well, it's only the first round, but it's actually great. They did a great job last year. I know they're going to do a great job this year, so they'll have really good coverage. So yes, I am lazy, and we have a Raider station. So everyone go to the Raider station. How about that?
You're such a team player.
Yes, I am. I am.
You are.
Yes. Team player.